That Note with Parker Whirling.
Lane Marie, thanks for joining me on That Note, making your way all the way from Athens, Georgia, which is where I actually started doing this in person, in Athens.
Cool.
I used to live there for a couple of years.
Nice.
And
okay.
there was a period of time where all the guests were Athens-based.
We love to see that.
You made it onto the Atlanta pod, which is even more special. So thank you for coming up here to do it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I was so excited. I know we're supposed to talk about me, but I did a deep dive when you reached out. You were like, hey,
oh, yeah.
I like your song Changing. And so then I was like, Parker, your music? Hello? I was like,
this is why I had
just
you
clutched
on
my
so
pearls.
that you could gas me up.
No, yeah. Freaking out.
Yo, thank you.
I was like, I'm going to scream. Tricks? Tricks. Yeah, plural.
Tricks. Yeah.
Hello? I was like, this is actually insane. This is the kind of stuff that I copy the link and I send it to my friends.
Oh,
I say,
cool.
Hey, check this out, you know? It was so good.
Thank you. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. I appreciate it. And I have to give Tommy Troutwine a shout out. We bought a zoo. He produced those songs. I used to live with him, actually.
I didn't realize that. He is so fab.
He's awesome.
I never say fab. I don't know why I just said that.
He is fab.
Yes,
He's a fab man.
We have come into contact a few times. We music business program at UGA.
Yeah.
I love Tommy. I love I know Elijah.
Sure,
I don't know if you know Chase, Garrett. He probably moved away for a time and then he just moved back. It may have been when you were.
Maybe so, yeah.
He has a little company called, I think it's Millstone Audio. He makes pedals and stuff.
Oh, yes, yeah. I know they were talking about him and those pedals, and I've seen them in the house.
Yes.
But I haven't met him.
Okay, all those guys are great.
Yeah, they're awesome. Great. Tommy, Elijah, both of them have been on this podcast many times.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And they're great. Love them. Shout out.
Yes, and, shout out. We love you guys.
Yeah, Tommy is has took these songs to a different level. So I'm glad that you enjoyed them.
Okay, I was wondering about there's so many little Easter eggs in them.
So many little Easter eggs,
and I was just thinking, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that process, like how you came up with those little Easter eggs here and there in the song.
Yeah, a lot of it would be, Tommy just messing around with some machine, and we'd be like, oh, we like that, keep it, or just, we worked very fast.
Okay,
which was cool.
Interesting.
So then a lot of things would just kind of come up, and we would either leave it forever, or we would come back and then take out a couple of things.
Okay.
But a lot of things stayed before we ended up taking it away. So there's probably more to, freaking out especially. There was so many, it was too much, things happening that were weird sounds. And then we had to go back and take them out. But it still keeps a lot of that craziness.
It has that sound. I was talking earlier about that nostalgia feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it has that classic freaking out. The chorus was I wanna feel. Is that right? Has that iconic melody that I thought, oh, I'm just gonna bathe in this for a second, and kind of that nostalgic feeling that I love, that I'm kind of addicted to right now.
Sick. I feel like this is an interview for me right now.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I love it.
My name's
I'm so
Parker.
not used to it. Yeah.
Lane
Nice
Marie,
to meet you, Parker. Yeah, Lane Marie here. But yeah, I would love to talk about your music. But before we get into that, we picked out 2 albums from my record collection. Usually we pick one, but we were feeling a little saucy today. We're going to pick 2. We got, what do we got here, Lane Marie?
Okay, we've got the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds.
Classic.
Speaking of nostalgia.
Yeah, literally. Maybe the most nostalgic record.
And then Spoon. And now this one, listen, Parker knows more about Spoon than I do. Let's just go ahead and say that out loud. I rediscovered them recently. Which album is this? Because you said it was the
Yeah, so that's called All the Weird Kids Up Front.
All the Weird Kids.
And that album, they put out a greatest hits album, and then at the same time they put out this album, which is almost like a greatest hits for Spoon heads. So people who love Spoon but it's like the greatest hits for them as opposed to like the greatest hits for the average Spoon fan, which sounds super pretentious to say, I realize. But
not at all. It's just so good. And I feel like I'm discovering Spoon for the first time as like an actual adult.
Mm-hmm.
I had older siblings, and so I listened to, like, I was born in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Some would say the 1900s.
Yeah, that millennium. Me too.
Okay, and so my siblings that were like 10 years older than me, so, you know, as a kid, I'm listening to this stuff. And when I get older, I'm like, why does this sound so nostalgic? And I realize, oh, it's because I was riding around in the car with my teenage siblings.
Right.
And so I'm finding these albums now as an adult, and I'm doing a deep dive because I think, oh, wait, this is so good.
Yeah.
And I love it.
There is something about coming back to that time. I've been listening to Goo Goo Dolls a little bit last few days, and I'm like, man, this was my first favorite band. That kind of 90s in like indie rock.
Yeah.
I loved that stuff.
It's so good.
Yeah, when you listen back to it, it still holds up, at least to me.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm sure nostalgia is in play there.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Beach Boys, too.
Yeah.
What I love.
What made you pick Beach Boys?
I love their harmonies. And you can definitely hear that love for harmonies in my music, because I try to always build a backtrack of layers.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I love the Beach Boys, which I don't know, people, you know, would probably pick the songwriting or the band, but I think I love the vocals on the Beach Boys. I love their layers. I love the way they sing together. And so I love to include that kind of vibe in some of my songs of those BGV layers.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to be held back a lot of times, like
from going too
from
hard.
Going
yeah, I can imagine. I've heard your songs, and they have some really, really awesome layering, but I don't think in any way you go too crazy with it.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes I think, okay, does this sound like a chorus? I don't want to sound like a chorus.
Right. Like a choral choir.
We got a little ensemble going on here. But yeah, that's why I picked the Beach Boys.
That's awesome. Yeah. Two classics for me, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in my album collection I feel like is a classic.
Yeah, they were classics.
Although I do hate when somebody like picks something that was clearly gifted to me and I can't really like. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool one. Love the cover. And I can't really, but both of those are amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, let's shift over into your music. Changing, your newest song, which came out April 30th, not too far away, almost a month now. I love that song. I heard it on Kapoor House's Atlanta Sound playlist. Shout out to Sam Kapoor.
Yes, thank you.
And that song just feels, there is that nostalgia there, like you said. But I love a pop song that just gets a little left center, a little left of center. And I feel like that you really nailed that there. Like at its core, it's a pop song.
Yeah.
But there's some cool like drum rhythms going on. It gives me a bit of like a Caroline Polachek production vibe, a little bit of Imogen Heap or Frou Frou.
Stop it.
Those are the influences I'm getting. But I want to ask about your experience with this song. In terms of making it, in terms of maybe even how you feel about it now that it's been out for almost a month.
Okay, first of all, thank you, because you nailed what I was going for. And I'm always thinking, are people listening to this the same way that I intended? Which it's fine if they don't, because as an artist, I'm sure you get this. You put it out and you're like, okay, this is yours now. Mm-hmm. Do with it what you will, in a way, because people are consuming it and it brings up like different thoughts maybe for them. But
totally.
I feel like I write a lot of maybe more folk pop songs, but it's a little left of center always. And it's so hard to find an audience for that, I feel, because a lot of people, they either want pop or they want rock, and I'm neither of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, the song Changing, I started writing it. I'm a very emotive person, and so I was having a lot of feelings, if you will,
Sure.
when I started writing it. And it was a moment of a lot of personal growth, in a way of being like, maybe I'm not a people pleaser anymore. Maybe I don't do that.
I mean, you're speaking my language.
Maybe we work on that thing.
Yeah.
And growing up, really, and leaving behind things that I just don't have capacity for anymore. And so there was this big moment in my life that was really hard, and I was having to make choices for myself. And I was so used to making choices for other people because I was a people pleaser. And I finally went, I can't do this anymore. And it was so uncomfortable. And it's rough when the growth is uncomfy. It's like not fun when you're actually getting better about something in your life, but it doesn't feel good at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like the growing pains.
Yes. So I was going through growing pains, and I heard the words first, which is funny because I usually am a melody first writer, but I heard changes the pruning, the fine tuning of that which we often cannot see. And I just heard those words, and I wanted to play with it because for so long I didn't see those things I needed to grow in. I didn't realize I was such a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was just being nice.
Yeah.
But I was actually being a doormat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down at the piano, and I write most of my songs from piano, and I just started playing with that melody change, is the pruning, the fine tuning, and wrote the chorus. And then I started writing the verses. I got through verse 1, and then I hit a huge writer's block on this song, and I walked away for a little bit, came back later, still had a writer's block. So I pulled in. So my producer, engineer, and drummer is my husband, Luke O'Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pulled him in to write verse 2. So he helped me with some of the writing of verse 2 of the words and stuff. And then it's interesting because I feel like some songs just like come right out and it's easy. And it's like, oh, that was meant to be. And then some songs are just
You
a
have to
labor
drag
of
them
love.
through the
Yes.
mud.
Oh my gosh. It was like rough draft. So I wrote the verses and then sat on that for a little bit and realized I didn't like the chords. I like couldn't figure out. It was just something is missing about this song. So then I went back to the verses, and I was just playing with this little melody one day of like 1 flat 7,
Mm-hmm.
4 1, and I was like, this is it. I finally figured out what this song needs, and it needs a flat 7.
That's all it needed.
It's all it needed.
I love a flat 7.
Oh, I'm a little addicted to flat 7s
Yeah,
right now.
a major 7, a flat 7.
Oh.
I'm into those.
Come on.
Any of the 7s.
Any of the 7s, let's hit them.
So did it feel like as soon as that happened, you were like kicking back into the full gear once you found that new chord?
Oh, for sure. It was, all it took was that 7. And it was like, all right, we're done. This song is complete. Let's record it. And the recording was so fast.
Of course.
It was like, for all of you listening right now, just add a flat 7 to your song. It'll be
That's
okay.
it. That's all you really need. That's the key. That's the key to music. In terms of the production, I mean, we were talking about just a lot going on, and it's not sparse, you know, like everything has its right place, but there are a lot of little doodads and, you know, little, what would the word be? You said something earlier. Sparkles, sprinkles
Easter
of things.
eggs.
Easter eggs. Thank you. Yes. What's your approach to things like that when you're looking for little Easter eggs to throw in there?
Yeah. So I feel like normally I tend to do too much. I'm actually working on not doing so much right now in recording. But I mean, this one has a lot in it, but it feels like it fits and it's good. This one was really interesting because a lot of times, so Luke and I go into the studio and we're recording, and a lot of it is co-producing, and I have a lot of opinions,
Of course,
and a lot of thoughts.
I can't imagine not.
Oh,
It's
right.
your own song.
I don't, and there's artists that are like that where they go in and they just have this song and then somebody else takes it away and they just are along for the ride. And I think
Yeah, I don't know.
what's that like?
I don't know. I love when I can trust the producer to take it along, and I will be in the backseat until needed.
Yes. Yes.
However, I pretty much always have at least a pretty general idea of what I want it to be like before we even get in there.
Exactly. And so this one was interesting because I feel like I wrote this piano line that it went da 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 da, which kind of was driving that rhythm. So anyways, we get into it, and for some reason, even though I co-produce most songs, I looked at Luke and I said, take it away, because he's a drummer first. And a lot of times when we're in the studio, I'm asking less drums. What if we did less drums? And he's like, okay.
It's like gripping the chair.
Yeah. That
Sure.
sounds good. There was one song I said, what if there were no drums? And he said, yeah. Artist is right. Artist gets to,
Right.
But this time I kind of said, I kind of just want to hear you have fun with this and bring your creative juices to this as a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up with all those drum parts and played it for me. And he was expecting me to say, pull it back. That is way too much.
Yeah.
But this time I said, it's perfect. I love every single thing that you did in this. He actually came up, there's like a clapping part where it goes da, da, da. That he just stood in the studio and just like set up some mics and started clapping. So all of the percussion is his mastermind just flowing. And I think he was very excited that he, as a drummer, for the first time ever, I didn't say it's too much.
Right. It was just enough.
It was just enough. And then
A win for the drummers.
a win
everywhere.
for the drummers. I mean, truly, poor drummers, honestly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So then I played keys on it, and they're in there, but you have to really listen for that. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm releasing singles about every 4 to 5 weeks right now, leading up to just releasing the full album. So one of the things for this album, which Changing is the title track. And we're going to release it later since it's a title track, but we loved it too much, which is rare for me to say. I'm usually a big critic of my music, and I don't know if I could say that I love all of my songs.
Yeah. That's okay.
Okay, yeah.
I feel the same.
I'm kind of a hater. Only to myself, not towards others.
Yeah.
But I actually loved this one. I was like, let's just go ahead and put it out, even though it's the title track.
That's
There's
awesome.
no rules anymore.
No.
But so a big thing for this album was I wanted it to be as collaborative as possible, because I think collaboration is the key to beautiful art. And I thought, what if I didn't hold things so tightly and try to make it this very small picture of what it could be, and I let people have a little bit more creative freedom with these songs that I've written, and I just send it to them and say, let me hear what you hear. Let me hear what you would come up with for this song. So Changing was kind of that growing pain of releasing and letting art be collaborative and letting creative juices flow and letting people bring what they have to the table. So that started with Luke, with the drums and percussion, and then we sent it to a good friend of ours, Jonathan Lee, who is a guitarist and plays actually with an artist that I love, Brooke Frazier, but he sent back, we sent it and he tracked remotely, and we just trust him, and we love the sounds that he has. And it was so funny because I can't remember exactly how we described what we wanted. We had an idea of like, we want it to be shimmery but rock, but not too garage rock. You know, we want it to have, but we don't want it to be clean. Yes. We said not too dirty, not too clean. I'm so sorry, Jonathan.
That's pretty par for the course, though. I feel like when you're giving someone notes, it's just complete contradictions.
Oh, complete contradictions. And he sent back something that I, was honestly better than I imagined. And he sent back, it was probably about 30 tracks.
Wow.
And no notes. There were no notes. We didn't go back and forth. It was like, oh, yes. What? And it was, you hear like a bunch of like what sounds like synth and pads. It is all guitar.
Wow.
It is all Jonathan Lee's guitar. And the sounds that he created, remote tracking. And I'm still
a brave
blown
new
away.
world.
Yes. I'm still blown away by that. Most of our tracking is done. We have people come to our studio at our house.
Yeah.
But yeah, we sent it off and he sent back something that we were in love with. And again, I think it's a note on that collaboration makes beautiful art. So I feel like so many of these songs that I'm releasing, it is just a beautiful piece of collaborative minds. And each song has different players on it because I have so many talented friends and I still can't include all of them because there's just not enough songs yet. But I'm trying to include as many people as I can because, again, I just love hearing what the different styles that someone has to bring to the table. So that's changing a little bit of it.
I love that. I feel like collaboration was a big turning point for me as well. There was a period of time where it was all me, like it was just me. And then when I first started working with like producers who were sort of taking these things and making them a little bit better, that was eye-opening, but still it was kind of a little insular, whatever. And then working with Tommy, I worked with Patrick from Racket Recording in Patrick Doherty in Athens. And that was when I really opened up the collaboration aspect of it. And it's so cool because you end up, your favorite parts of the songs have nothing to do with you.
Yes.
You never came up with it.
Yes.
And you can just listen to your song in a way that feels like it's not your song sometimes because it's not all of your ego stuffed into this 3.5 minutes or whatever. You get to allow other people to have their input and elevate it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you're a kind of person that has a bit of control issues, especially it's your own song, it's easy to get very personal about how you want it to sound. You can always just be like, I don't really love it. We can change, let's change it. But I think you should still be open to allowing people to have their input on it, especially if you trust them and that they are a great musician in their own right. You never know how much better it could be.
Right. Oh my gosh, you nailed it. I feel like you can listen to the song as if it weren't your own song. I love that because when it is just me or I'm like the main player behind it, that's when I get really critical. And that's when I get tired of the song. But I feel like these collaborative songs, I can listen to them and I can celebrate the art that my friends have made. And it's so much easier and so much more fun to listen to.
Absolutely.
And I love it.
And they always can do so much more than me. So it's like, why would I not?
Why would I not? I also feel like, and I'm going to sound a little like hippie for a minute. Can you really control art? It's like I tried to control it. Even the song itself is going to go in whatever the direction the song needs to go in. No matter how I wanted it to sound or, whatever. You have to go with the song. It's, in a way, what is controlled art? Can you really, if it's true art, it's like it tells you where it wants to go. And that's kind of how I felt changing. I had this like idea and I was trying to like flesh it out, but you know, the song needed to tell me. It sounds so hip.
No, I'm so with you. It just reminds me of, because I'm with you 100%. It reminds me of this like epiphany I had when I was in therapy, and like I went for, you know, whatever. But she told me, she's like, you have a relationship with everything. Everything in your life you have a relationship with. And it started to make me realize, like, you can think about music, you can think about a morning routine, you can think about whatever as a person. And if you're trying to, for like, you know, a song, if you're trying to shape it and control it, that's not how you're going to get the best out of someone.
Yes.
Like, you need to be in, you need to listen to what the song thinks, you know, and I get that sounds kind of woo-woo
No, I
or
love
whatever.
that.
But like, yeah, these things are relationships, and you want to approach them as if they're another person that is your friend.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a great way to think about it. Speaking of therapy,
Let's get into it.
let's get into it. I've just gone through this season of incredible therapy. I found this therapist in Athens. There's not that many who do EMDR. EMDR.
Is that the electro? What is it?
It's. I love how all I can think of is electro.
I shouldn't have said that. I don't even know if that's what it is.
Eye movement.
Oh.
Rapid something.
Yes.
Well, they studied like REM sleep.
Right.
REM cycle, and they discovered that the way that it affects your brain when you're in REM sleep, they use it for like PTSD trauma and therapy. But basically, when you have your left and right brain firing, your brain can basically rewire traumatic memories. So the way it's been described to me is like you store these traumatic memories and in your hippocampus or something like that.
Right.
Don't quote me. Okay.
Right. A part of your brain.
A part of your brain. And it's stored like right next to your amygdala, which is like your fight or flight mechanism. And so when you are walking in your everyday life, walking through your days, you can have these triggers. They're so real, you know, and they, you know, your amygdala is like, oh, fight or flight, even though it may not be a fight or flight situation.
Right.
And so your brain, when your amygdala is firing, your brain just shuts down. And you actually can't do anything helpful. You can't heal. You can't turn it on and off. You have to kind of like wait for the cycle to go. So the whole thing with EMDR is you go through these traumatic memories while operating like your left and right brain functions, and you can like move those memories into your frontal cortex where you can think about them with like reason.
Right.
And so,
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So anyways, I found this therapist who does that, and we've been doing that. And all of the songs in this album are from a place of being able to actually heal for the first time because of this learning about the brain, and doing really helpful therapy for it. And it's so cool because, again, it's like this control. I feel like for the first time, because of this brain healing, I'm like able to release control of this art, and it's so much better. And I'm so much more excited about this album than I think I've ever been excited about my music. And so we've come up with this little catchphrase. It's like these songs that you listen to while you're healing. Like, you listen to while you're healing. It might make you feel better because it's just me healing.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about in a previous episode about how, like, even if nobody ever heard these songs, they still have value because of what they brought you as the artist.
Yes. I feel more free than I've ever felt. And it's just so sweet to be able to do that through music.
It really is. And you get to listen back to it and take yourself back into those moments and express things you wouldn't have had the ability to express otherwise.
Yeah.
Put it to, you know, a sick beat, and it's like, it's fun. At the end of the day, it's fun, and you can heal from it, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, with this album that's coming out, maybe even specifically with the song Changing, are there any musical and or life lessons that got you to these songs that you feel like are important for a listener to know ahead of listening to it?
That was a great question. Which one do I pick? There's a few.
You can pick them all.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, we got time.
You let me pick 2 albums. You're letting me pick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The world is yours.
I feel free.
Please, I'm glad you do.
So I feel like one big thing is I have a toddler. I have a little girl, and that was a huge life change. And it is also, people ask me, hey, my mother-in-law is really great about asking this question. What's the best thing going on in your life right now? And it's always my daughter. Her name's Estelle. It's always her because she grounds me like nothing else. And when I have a really terrible day and I see her smile, I'm like, oh, I'm like, get to be the mom and the caretaker for this beautiful life, and hopefully parent her in a way, hopefully, that she doesn't have to do like tons of therapy, maybe a little bit, because, you know, life, but like hopefully not because of me all the time.
Sure.
But that, when I had her, for some reason, it's like when it pulled out all of my childhood trauma. I don't know why. It was terrible at first. Not her, but like how it made me. For some reason, it was like my body, now that I have to take care of this human being, could no longer hold the like people pleasing and the traumatic memories and the like a lot of sadness that I'd buried so deep that I just stuffed, and the shame. Oh my, the shame that was like coming to the surface that I didn't even realize I had buried so deep. And again, that goes back to changing of that which we often cannot see are the lyrics, because all this stuff's coming out and I am like, how did I live with this for so long and didn't even realize it? But I just had no more room in my psyche and in my body to hold it. So I went to therapy pretty quickly after. And
had you been going to therapy before that, or was this your first experience?
I had gone to therapy, and that's what's crazy to me is I'm like, did I do anything?
Sometimes I feel that as well. I'm like, what have I been doing?
What have I been doing? And so I tried a new therapist and we did the EMDR stuff. Yeah. And I feel like that was a breakthrough for me. But so but this felt new in a way. And so I went, and I don't know why, looking at this beautiful, like innocent, pure little life and little baby made me go, I have some inner child. This sounds so corny. I've got an inner child in me who needs to heal, who was pure and who was this, and then had to go through all these things that I'm like have piled and buried and whatever. So went to therapy and feel like I healed really for the first time my inner child and traumatic memories and people pleasing and holding everyone's burdens on my back. It's like I just had no more room for that after I had Estelle. And so I feel like you can hear that in the music that's coming out. And it's also just like the sweetest thing that having a baby actually healed me, I would say. And I feel like I would have never expected that, because I feel, people say different things about having kids. It healed me and it has grounded me, and it's been the sweetest, huge change.
Of course.
Obviously, but also pushed me to heal and to not just be better, but to heal and not have so much shame. I don't know why the shame hits so hard.
Yeah, I need you to like give me whatever you got, because the shame, the guilt is like can be so debilitating and keep you from doing the things you love because you don't think you're worthy of it.
No, it's so real.
The listeners of this episode are like, what the hell is going on? Whatever, just sit through it. Might help you.
It might help you. Therapy. Welcome to our therapy session.
That's right. Yeah. This is our special episode.
No, yes. It was like, for some reason, I buried the shame before, and it was like I heard the voice, but I didn't recognize it before Estelle. For some reason, Estelle came along and I went, I'm not good enough. And it was so loud. It was so loud that I went, I can't live like this. I can't live like this. Mm-hmm. It's always not enough for me. I don't know there's always a voice, and you have to call it out. And sometimes saying it out loud helps, because then you laugh and you're like, oh,
right.
You fool. That's not
true. You thought.
So for me, the voice is always not enough. You're not doing enough. You're not good enough.
Yeah.
The anxiety that comes with that is outrageous. I feel like shame and anxiety always come as a pair for me. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, yeah, it's been a lot of working on those things, and the songs have come out of that place. And that was a huge life experience that brought me to a deeper understanding of myself, a deeper understanding of my childhood, and things that I learned, starting at 7 or 8 years old that I needed to heal from. That like, I'm a extremely emotive person. Ooh, actually, I am going to tell a story about the song I released. It's called I Remember. I released it before changing. And that was a experience that I had as a child when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And now the life experience was healing from that, because I found that a lot of unhealthy habits stemmed from this memory. So my dad was an amazing person in many ways, but he also had a lot of demons. And in that song, I remember, I call it my EMDR song, because I worked through this memory of my parents were divorced. My dad was dropping off at my house. I had a stepdad, and it was Father's Day, and I had made, or it was close to Father's Day, I had made these like little construction ties for both of them, my dad's for Father's Day. And my dad's dropping me off at my house after the weekend, and he pulled out this tie. He saw it. I pulled his out to hand him, Happy Father's Day, and he saw the other one, and he was so upset, because he was like, I'm your dad. He's not your dad. And he pulled it out, and he set it on fire, and he dropped it to the ground. And I'm watching this, like, I'm like 7 or 8 years old, little girl. Sorry, you're like shocked.
No, I mean,
and I'm
wild.
watching it burn on the ground. And for some reason, that memory told me emotions are not okay. Other people's needs are more important. I don't know. That's the message I got out of that. And because I thought in the moment, even at such a young age, I thought his needs are more important than mine right now. He's broken. Mm-hmm. He's broken. He needs this. I'm not going to show my emotions because it'll hurt him. He'll know how hurt I am. It'll hurt him more. Mm-hmm. And it's like it downloaded into my being that emotions are not okay and other people's needs are more important. And I lived with that for so long. And when I didn't follow that belief system, it brought on shame and anxiety, even though it was wrong.
You probably didn't know why for the longest time.
Had no idea until I'm starting to do EMDR, and it's like bringing up all these memories, and I'm going, oh my gosh, that's where it started. That memory right there is where it started. And so I remember is about that memory. And it actually says in the lyrics, it says, he burned that tie. And I this is terrible. This is my sense of humor. I'm like, haha. People probably think that's like
not so literal.
Not literal.
Right. No, that's awesome.
I'm like, no, that is so literal. I'm telling a very real story. But I remember it's so sweet because at the end it's like I'm healed from that and I'm moving forward. And I it's sweet to share these songs because I feel like everyone has their stories. Everyone has their little literal stories that maybe they're healing or yet to be healed. And I really hope that they hear these songs and are encouraged that there is life on the other side that is so much more abundant and so much more life-giving and fun. I'm telling all these. I'm sorry. Did you come here to have a good time?
I'm having a great time. Honestly, this has been a lovely conversation.
Good. I'm like, I feel bad because my friends joke that I can't just talk about the weather. I'm like, no, let's talk about our deepest.
I'm into it. Yeah.
Okay, great. But it's also funny because I have these very real stories and these songs that are from a very challenging perspective sometimes, but I also love to have fun. And it's such a weird juxtaposition. I'm like, I love to laugh, which is why I feel like I need to heal because I love to laugh. I'm like, I need to laugh. I need to have fun. I need to go out and do silly, crazy things. I love a adrenaline rush. And so, yeah, that is just such a side note. It's nothing about music, but more so about me. But
well, that's what and that's what the question was what lessons have you learned over the years that maybe brought you to these songs right now? And sometimes those lessons are musical, sometimes they're life, sometimes they're both. And I feel like those life ones have just as much of an impact as learning to which frequency to cut when you're mixing, and probably more so when you can think about how in your life, and also just the fact that for me, a lot of lessons I learn in life, I can't synthesize until I write it into a song.
Yes.
And then I'm like, holy shit. I mean, Freaking Out, the song you mentioned earlier, like as I was writing that, I was like, whoa. Oh. This is how I feel about these things. I really didn't think about it in this way. And now I'm like forced to think about it that way for better or worse.
Yeah. Did you know music actually engages, like especially when you're playing it and singing, it engages your left and right brain. So it does a similar thing that EMDR does. It's not the exact same thing, but it makes your left and right brain come online. And when your left and right brain are operating, you don't go into at the same time, like a walk or just like tapping left and right. You don't go into fight or flight. It keeps your amygdala from shutting your brain down. So you're able to process these really hard things in song. Whoa. Is that not so amazing?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's, Now I'll have to be conscious of that next time I'm playing guitar and trying to write some lyrics.
Yeah, you may not go into fight or flight. You can do the hard things because your left and right brain
are both active. I have one quick question for you. I don't know if it'll be that quick, but in regards to everything we just talked about, when it comes to using songs as a way to maybe process these traumas or heal from things or learn about yourself or however you want to frame it. And let's say someone wants to take their songwriting to the next level, at least in terms of getting more personal. What kind of advice would you offer, or what is was your experience taking that kind of songwriting to a more personal place that can be scary sometimes because you have to like acknowledge the truth of how you're feeling about things?
Right. I would say I journal more than I write. I don't know. Do you journal?
I go through phases. I need to get back into it right now. Like I might do it as soon as you leave.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about it. But yes, I have before.
Okay, yeah. So journaling is also a thing with your brain. And I feel like it's a good, if you want to do that with song, I feel like journaling is a good first step. Just learn how to sit with yourself and a piece of paper. And I think that's step number one. I would almost say the songs will come if you can journal. If you can journal out how you feel and what you're thinking and all of those things, and even like journaling the scariest thoughts that you don't want to say out loud. If you, it's almost like it's this muscle that you're working out.
Yeah.
Like you're every time that you face a scary thing, you can do it the next time and it's not as scary, you know? So I feel like if you can journal, you can start writing those songs. But I would sit with the journal for a minute. I journal way more than I write. And when I go to write, it is not as intimidating. And I think also, you don't have to share it if you don't want to. The song, it depends. Like, why are you writing? You know, are you writing it for the art? Are you writing it for yourself, for the healing? Or are you writing it because you want people to listen to it? Those are two very different, you know, places that you're writing from. And so I try, which this is the purist in me right now, and this may change, but I try not to write for other people. I try not to write what I think people would like. I try to write for me or for the art itself. And if it's good enough, I'll record it and I'll share it. And that part is the scary part to me because I didn't write it for other people.
Right.
You know, the actual releasing it to the world, I'm thinking, I just aired my dirty laundry for all to see and hear. But I think there's something that's beautiful about shared human experiences, which is why I share my music. Because I'm like, I know people feel the same thing. I know that people have experienced similar things, and I want them to know that they're not alone. But yeah, so journal and then write first for yourself or for the art itself and not for other people. But did that answer the question?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Because there is that fear for people when, I mean, what you said that kind of hit the nail on the head for me was it's like a muscle acknowledging these kind of hard thoughts or these like tough things to say out loud about how you feel about things. And when it comes to songs, it's no different. Like, it's hard to say those things. It's hard to admit certain things you've been feeling. And I do think even when I journal, like, you know, it's funny how, you know, journaling should be for that reason. And sometimes I'm just like, it's really nice outside. I might go for a walk, you know, and that's fine to say that stuff. But it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, say what I need to say. You know, I like won't write it down because then it's real.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with songs.
Yeah, then it's real. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I feel like, again, and I said this earlier, and I'm saying this for myself. Every time I say something, I'm saying it also for myself. I am not the master of these things. The more you do it, come on, Lane Marie. The more you do it, the less scary it gets. I'm like, I have to remember that. The more you do it, it'll be less scary next time. It won't be as like gut-wrenching and painful. Just keep doing it. Make those connections in your brain that are healthy. And I feel like journaling about the weather is a good intro, though. You know, it's like you gotta warm up a little bit.
Totally.
It's like talking to a person.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Your relationship, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's great advice. Just start with a little bit of journaling, feel it out. You don't have to go straight to writing, you know, the deepest song. Really just check on yourself, see how you're feeling before you get into that.
Yeah, that was a great way to put that. Wow. Therapy.
Therapy is awesome. Go to therapy if you want. It's very helpful, I think.
Yes.
But Lane Marie, let's take this over to the last 5, where you're going to pick out 5 different questions from this magic bowl here.
Oh my gosh. This is so fun. Okay.
So you can, it doesn't have to be.
Pink.
Yeah, there you go. Go with the pink.
Dream 3-band bill.
Who would be a dream 3-band bill that you'd want to go see?
Oh, that I'd want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it's like who I would play with.
Some people take it like that, and that's totally fine.
It's too much pressure. I'll do who I see. Brooke Fraser. She's like 2006, 2007 Australian or New Zealand artist. She's like hole in the wall, honestly.
Okay.
Oh, I would love to see her. Probably Madison Cunningham.
Oof.
Is
Yeah.
mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That her new album. I mean, it's not so new anymore, but a couple of years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah. I actually just what was her album before that with Songs in My Head?
I can picture the cover.
I know, me too. The like line drawing. Mm-hmm. So I fell in love with her with that album, and then I recently discovered her newer album. It was just like, I'm sorry, how did you make? And Luke and I were talking about this. How did you make a time signature of 7 sound okay? How did you do that? It's
right.
That is mind blowing. So I would love to see Madison Cunningham, and then
yeah, me too.
Let's see, Brooke, Madison. There's so many, and that I love. There's 2 people that are coming to mind. Confession. I am kind of a pop girly.
That's great.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
I sometimes I hate admitting that. Not hate.
Right.
I'm just like, it's the shame for me. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get shamed for this being in like
Dude, so
indie
many people
music.
love her.
Okay, yeah. Being in indie music scene is like so humbling, especially in Athens. I'm like,
right.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, you gotta keep it on the low.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna say. But Lane Marie, famous Sabrina Carpenter fan, comes on the pod.
Oh my gosh. I love Harry Styles. Like these are my pop people. Harry Styles, I feel like actually I like Harry more than Sabrina.
Okay.
I love the way he pulls from classic rock. Mm-hmm. And I would argue classic like British rock.
Right.
Obviously.
There's some Beatles in Harry's house.
You wouldn't have
that great
Harry without Beatles.
Grapefruit blues
Yes,
or whatever.
yeah, watermelon. Wait, what?
There's like grape juice blues or grapefruit blues on the new one.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
I mean, watermelon sugar high, yeah, but yeah, the guy loves fruit.
Like food. Yeah, fruit.
Yeah, loves fruit.
Loves fruit.
But yeah, I can't remember if it's grapefruit blues or grape juice blues, whatever.
Oh,
it's on the new album, ish and new-ish, Harry's house.
Okay,
very Beatlesy.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. And okay, you said pick 3. I'm sorry, I'm so
no, you're good.
Indecisive as a person, which is full circle moment why collaboration is so important.
Yes.
At what point do I need to step away?
Yeah.
And then I love Olivia Dean, who is like, she's also British. She's like pretty funky. And I'm really vibing with her songs right now. She's not folk. She's not pop.
Olivia Dean. I don't know her. I'll have to listen to her.
Yeah, I'm really into her right
now. So Brooke Fraser, Olivia Dean, and Madison Cunningham.
Yeah, those would be my top 3.
Sweet. All right, let's check number 2 here.
Okay. Unexpected musical influence. Great question.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, who would people not expect is someone you really pull influence from?
Not expect. I'm like, I feel like it's always expected.
Or maybe even just
you know
listen
what?
to.
This is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I was classically trained, and my undergrad is actually from a school of music, all classical. And I got so burned out on that. But actually, have you seen Whiplash?
Oh, yeah.
So my college experience was kind of like Whiplash, which sounds so dramatic. However, I had a voice professor throw a chair at me one time because I was not singing a note the way was correct.
I mean, throwing a chair,
way.
that is
It
whiplash.
feels whiplash, right? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's not dramatic. That's
okay,
what happened.
Yeah, it is
in
what
the movie.
happened. So there's that. But so I would say, probably like you can't really hear it in my music, but I freaking love Debussy.
Okay. Yeah.
And I love the impressionist era of classical music is my favorite because it is so free and there's no rules.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I think, you know how you said Changing is a pop song, but a little off center.
Mm-hmm.
It's that freedom that I love in Impressionism that I try to apply kind of indirectly and sometimes subconsciously that I try to apply to music now of like, it's pop, but it's not.
Right.
There's no rules. I'm not following any rules, which I feel like Impressionist music does so well, especially Debussy.
Yeah. I mean, even the melody of the chorus, like that's so like not a typical melody.
Yeah.
And that's like my favorite part of that song is when you hit that because it feels almost like you wrote it in reverse or something. Like
I love
that melody like goes just opposite of where you think it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like, you know, what you were just saying about the freedom of it. It's like it's not how you would think, but it does go because it can.
Yeah, because it can. The amount of times that I think to myself those exact words, I'm like, well, I'm going to do it because I can.
Right. And it shows, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun.
So classical music, Debussy.
Yes.
For unexpected musical influence. What's number 3 in the bowl?
All right. I'm going to go. Okay. Most underrated song / album by your favorite artist. I think probably, well, again, Brooke Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Flags. If you go listen to that, you're going to hear all my music.
In that.
Probably Flags.
Nice.
She, I feel like, doesn't follow any rules. That's what I love about that album. She has this, like, it's called Jack Kerouac, and it's like this, like, it feels like an island song, and then she's got, like, a folk song next, and it's like, she doesn't follow the rules, and that's what I love about it. Yeah, I probably
Flags.
Yeah, I probably pick Flags because again, if you go through the whole album, it's like, what is the genre? I don't know.
It's Flags.
There are no rules. Stop following rules.
Stop following rules.
everyone.
If you get anything from this pod.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of the freaking rules that we make for each other.
I know.
That's where the shame comes from.
Exactly. Let's check question number 4 there.
Oh.
Because that was Brooke Fraser, right? Flags.
Describe the perfect setting to listen to your music. Okay, this is my favorite question. Good question.
Shout out Spencer Thomas. He gave me that question.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Spencer. I feel like the perfect setting would be the French countryside.
Ooh.
Well, personally, I just love the French countryside so much. I feel like definitely you're outside. You are connected to nature. You hear the birds chirping. You feel the ground beneath you. And you ground yourself in a beautiful setting. Maybe you have a glass of wine. I mean,
Sounds kind of nice.
sounds kind of nice. Maybe there's a vineyard nearby. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever your
A
favorite
beautiful
glass
French
is.
man or woman or
Oh.
whoever next to you.
No, literally. So, yeah, and I think there's something connected with French culture for me, like Debussy.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of like, it's not the same rules. They have rules, but it's not the same as Americans, and so I feel free there. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here with my glass of wine. But yeah, you ground yourself. You've got a nice glass of wine. You hear the birds chirping, and you are in a moment of freedom, both physically and mentally to take in art and maybe learn something about yourself while you listen.
Take me there now.
Yeah.
I want to be there right now.
Okay, done.
All right.
Yeah.
This is the last question, number 5.
Oh,
I think.
I don't know why I thought I was only doing a couple. Okay, I love this.
I'm so glad. I think a lot of people enjoy this part, hopefully.
Best/worst decade of music.
That's a tough one. So you're going to have to praise an entire decade and trash an entire decade. Sometimes people have done the same for both. Like one decade is both the best and the worst. You know?
I think my least favorite decade is probably the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I say usually.
Okay, it's fine. I don't want to.
Funny
It's
enough,
just
I
my
feel like
least
Changing
favorite.
has some 80s
Okay.
influence.
Confession.
Not to call you out.
No. I'm about to call myself out too. I have a series of like cover songs that I did. I did it for this project actually, you're an actor. You'll appreciate this. For this like film pitching thing.
Oh, cool.
And I did all this work for it. And then I thought, well, why don't I release them later? And it was like a year ago. So I was like, I'm just going to release all these songs that I covered for this pitching thing. And that way, all my efforts are for not nothing. But I did a cover of Africa.
Nice.
So I'm such a hypocrite right now saying that 80s are the worst
But it's, it's an impossible question.
It's an impossible question, but it's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a cover of Africa. I'll release it at some point. But it's still my least favorite decade.
Yeah.
And then best, I don't want to say the 70s because I feel like everyone says the 70s and I just want to come against that. So I'm going to say the 90s.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm really into the 90s right now. I don't know.
The nostalgia, as you were saying earlier.
It just, I'm really vibing with the sound. I love that they were still using real instruments in pop music. Mm-hmm. I'm such a purist. I'm trying my best to use real instruments. I mean, I have synth and stuff in my songs, but like, I still have real instruments in there somewhere. I like to layer. And I love, like the 90s, they use a real drum kit.
Yeah.
And a real bass guitar. And I love that. And I would love to hear our pop music get back into using some real instruments. This is the purist in me.
Right.
I'm a purist. Fine.
I'm with you on the real instruments. I also love like glitched out, crazy, weird tech stuff as well.
Do you like hyperpop?
I mean, it's funny. I feel like hyperpop had its moment around 2020.
Yeah.
And that was like the height of that. And now we're like, I'm on my like TED Talk shit right now. I feel like we're in a post hyperpop world where that was such a huge thing for a moment. And now we're taking the lessons we've learned from that and not making it so cliche.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of the way like dubstep had its huge moment. And now, I mean, have you met anyone that's been like, I fucking love dubstep? No. Like, I would run away if somebody said that. That's an insane thing to say. But I think that era, that moment, influenced pop music and it influenced music in general. For better or worse, it's up to you. But I think we learned the lessons from that kind of thing. That's kind of how I feel about hyperpop and like bedroom pop. Yeah. Like that whole thing. The whole like COVID era.
We learned our lessons.
Yeah, and now we've distilled it into like its best parts, hopefully. Yeah. And so to say I like hyperpop, I'm like, I don't know if I would just say that out loud.
Loves dubstep.
Sounds embarrassing. Yeah, I heart dubstep. But yeah, I mean, I like some pretty like glitched out beats. I love Jane Remover. I don't know if you know her.
No, I'm gonna
She's
check that out.
insane. And like K-Mo, who's like similar to Jane Remover. They're on the same label. But anyway, those are just a couple examples.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah,
I'll get back to you.
Please, yeah. I mean, you might have a heart attack and be like, "There's no real instruments," but I think you would probably dig some of it at least.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still with you on. I love a good, like a rock
like a
band.
Mix.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'll listen to the other stuff, but I'm not gonna come back to it time and time again.
Sure.
If you have a mix, if it's either all real instruments or a mix,
right,
of real and not, and tech, then I'll come back to you time and time again.
Do you know Magdalena Bay?
No.
I mean, all right.
Okay.
I'm putting you on.
Okay.
I mean, you should listen to Jane River, but listen to Magdalena Bay because Changing really reminds me of them as well. Like that is part of. I almost said them in that mix of people I mentioned.
Yeah.
But they're certainly like that mix that you're referring to.
Yeah, I love that.
80s influence, but not 80s cheese.
Right. Well, I'm a hypocrite, so we can say 80s.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I say 80s is not as my least favorite as well, and 90s has snuck up there for me in terms of like I don't know if I'd still say my favorite. Spoon. I mean, yeah, Spoon. Although in my mind I see them as like 2000s if I'm going to pick an era. But as we kind of talked about before the pod, they've been doing it for 20 years, I guess, maybe
amazing.
More now, like 25, 30 years. 96 was their first album, so basically 30 years.
I love that you knew that.
Yeah, well, it's also the year I was born, so easy to remember that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, was that the fifth question?
That was the fifth question. I'm sorry. Wait.
You want to do one more?
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite?
Yeah.
Decade?
What's your favorite decade? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think the real answer is the 2010s.
Okay.
Yeah. And unless I'm proven otherwise, that's also been kind of just like I've said that, so that's what I'm going to say. Because I feel like music really hit a new wavelength in terms of being able to, I don't know, do so many different things due to the access that people had to being able to make albums and music in their own home, and like how much easier it was for people to upload their own songs. They can bypass the labels and things like that. And somebody put it really well that I interviewed on the podcast a long time ago, saying from every decade you could show an 80s song to somebody from the 70s and their head would explode. You could show a 90s song to somebody from the 80s and their head might explode. Yeah. But like from the 2010s to like the 2000s, there wasn't a huge change in like, I don't know, the overall sound of music. But I think what would blow their mind is being able to say like, somebody made this in their bedroom with a laptop and that's it.
Yeah. The accessibility has been a game changer. I don't know if I would be releasing music right now if it weren't for the accessibility.
Exactly. And I think that's what really makes things really cool. And also the internet, just being able to, you can pull influence from anywhere and everywhere. You're not limited to a scene that you have, which has its pros and cons. I think there's something cool about, you could argue maybe that there's no pure scenes anymore because of that. I don't think that's really true, but like, yeah. I mean, Athens had such a clear scene for me.
Yes. Oh,
shout out my love for Athens.
We love you.
I do miss it.
It's such a scene.
It really is. And unlike it, I mean, Atlanta, love Atlanta. But it's not as insular. It's not as cohesive as Athens. In Athens, you feel like there is such a easily identifiable trajectory between different genres, and like you go to the same places to see music. You go to Flickr, you go to Georgia Theater, you go to 40 Watt, you go to Bouvet, like all these places to see live music, and you can see all different types of music, and yet there is kind of an ethos there.
Yeah, there's like a community too. It's really interesting. Someone recently said to me, I hear Athens in your music, and I was like,
that's cool.
What? Because I don't feel like I'm Athens at all. I love Athens.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like an outsider to the genre, I guess. So I was pleasantly surprised and excited. To hear that. I was like, this little pop girl.
We love you, Athens.
We love you.
Elaine Marie, that's our time here on that note. Thank you for coming on. This has been an awesome episode. We got to talk about so much. You know, we got really into it. And, you know, that's always refreshing. I don't always get so deep into it with my guests, and, you know, that's totally fine. But I also love, you know, really getting down to like the reality of why we write these songs. And it's awesome. So thank you again for coming on and chatting about Changing, your new song, which is out now. Everybody should go listen to it. And your debut album coming out this year under the same name, Changing. Do you know when it's coming out yet?
I don't.
Okay.
Because I'm releasing it as a series of singles. Right. And I'm going to throw in a couple covers here and there as a separate thing. Just why not?
Just for fun.
Why not?
Africa.
Because I can. Africa is unhinged. It's like indie synth.
Of course.
Not real instrument. But with some real instruments, obviously.
Sure.
But yeah, so probably by the end of the year, they'll all be out, I would imagine.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear it, and I know the listeners can't either. And yeah, just want to thank you again for coming on.
Yay, thank you.
On that note, with Parker Whirling.